Right, so let me explain where I'm at. So as you can see, I've got a box full of different L brackets, corner brackets, whatever you want to call them. So what I'm thinking is I need a shelf that's the height of this, because I still want to use these, so a shelf that comes out along here. And I was thinking if I could get some brackets, bolt them through this bolt here, and that could give me some sort of center support. And it runs pretty much level to where I want it to go, give or take a little bit. So I don't know if it's going to work, but it's kind of where I'm at. And then at the back here with this space, I'll probably put some sort of wood in there, wood on top of the shelf, and kind of screw through and kind of sandwich this like headliner thing. I don't know. Anyway, let's get a couple of these in place, and this side and that side, and then get some wood, do some measuring across, put it in, and then I'll try to scribe that contour. I want to try to get a bit of wood sitting here and then scribe the front, cut it, and then see if I can slide it in. If that's going to work, then I don't know, because this bit of the headline here, look, comes out. But I'll have a play around, try to figure something out. So that bit you just saw me cutting, I've kind of got it into place, and it's on these brackets. It kind of comes in at the level I want it, which is right at the top of those like storage, sunrise or storage bits, look. I've measured from this trim bit here 58mm, and then I measured that side, so it should be sitting kind of like level to both sides of the van. Now what I need to do is work out this gap at the front, which I'll probably do from in here because it'll be easier. Measure that, get a scribe. You know how I do scribe, I get a bit of wood with a point, mark the distance, drill a hole for a pen, and then I'll scribe that front, hopefully then cut that front bit, and then hopefully this will slide in all the way. And I think by looking at it, I can tell that I'm gonna need to obviously bring these corners in, because it's already just like wedging in. So let's get that done. So as you can see, I cut a little bit off these corners just so I can push it a little bit further. And then what I've done is, there was like a slight gap on both sides, so what I've done is just put my finger against the edge holding the pen and ran that along, and that's given me this line and this line. Now I hope it isn't too much, but even if it is, I am going to be carpeting this, so hopefully it'll be fine. But I'm now just going to trim these down, not right on the line, just in case. I'm going to leave a few mil and cut both of them down, test fit it again until we can try to get it right against the front of the headline. So you can just see in that corner, I've curved it off a bit, and in that corner, and now I've got a slight gap here, which is very small, about 5mm. I've curved it slightly, like scribed it around that centre bit, and I'm probably going to curve these bits off a bit, because these, as you can see, they've pushed out. So I'm going to curve these off so these come in a bit. But what I'm going to do before I cut them out is I've got these blocks here, and I'm going to put these blocks in. Now these blocks here, the smaller ones, are going to go behind this, and then the longer ones here I'm going to put on the front. I'm going to try to flush them up with the edge of this, so when it comes to mounting the face on later, I kind of can put an L bracket or something on that and have something solid and strong to screw into. And also that will then sandwich that and hopefully hold and support this back edge. So I've got the shelf done into kind of place. I've cut around these little bits around here, like I said, and I've also cut a block here and another little one on the inside, and I've screwed through and then through that headline in there, so I hope you can see that right. Also, I haven't put this in yet, but this bit I've just cut just fits in nicely between both sides, and I'm going to be just putting some screws up through that, so that's just going to give this a lot more structural rigidity and support all the way across. And also when it comes to fitting the door, now I can do that here, and obviously I'm going to have a bit of wood screwed up here, which ain't going to be very thick, so I'm still going to have a good 8-9 inches to get in here, and that's plenty enough space. I've got a couple more little blocks here, which I'm thinking I might screw somehow here maybe, and then try put some sort of screw or fixing, not fitting, to somehow secure this through there, or maybe an L bracket in here, because obviously this is kind of curved, and then some sort of block behind and screw into that. I don't know, just some sort of support there though. So these two blocks I've got here, I just wanted to show you what I have to do to this one. I cut it at 45 degrees, and then I got a bit of sandpaper and just rounded off that edge just to try and get it so I can get it in enough I can then screw it in and through. And then this one I'll have to hold up through where that light is, because I took the light out, hold that up, and then, or someone will, so I can get those screws in there. So there we go. Sorry about the quality, so grainy. I think it's just the light. It's starting to get dark. Not that you can tell. Well, you can kind of tell now, actually. But yeah, I've just cut it around the edge. And you see what I mean? You just see a bit of that bracket. I've cut it all nicely. I'm really happy with how it's come out. Now I'm going to leave this like this for now until I make the front bit. And then when I make the front bit, I'll tuck this in. And so this is all covered, all behind, sandwiched in between. So yeah, getting there. So as you can see, the van's behind me. I'm currently at Heathwood Trucks, where Steve is, next door to my work. Now, the reason is, it's bulkhead, and the bulkhead at the top has the exact contour of the van, which is the part I'm going to need to do the front of this shell. And he said I can take it out and trace it to make that template. So that's what I'm doing. So just another thing while we're down this end of the van. Now this area up here, I was going to do some sort of boxing in bit, wasn't I? So when I was undoing that bit of the bulkhead that's to go there, which is sitting up there at the moment, I saw these above the door. Now I've had to cut, as you can see them bits down there, the bits off here, off the top, because the ceiling's now in, so the ceiling's lower than it would have been originally. And hopefully this will be able to house in the electrical cables, and that will kind of just go in there on some bolt holes. And then I can wrap this later on. This is a factory part and the bolt holes will line up, so it should be pretty straightforward for me to install and hide all the wiring. So yeah, I'm gonna get that done. You can't really see it too well because of the glare there, but that's all in. Goes into the original bolt holes. This bit did actually come out further, but I've trimmed that down flush with this wood. So when I can build my bridge units, they will come into the end of this board, and then that'll go to that. And then this, now it's all in, I use the original bolt holes. That will hide all the cables and wrap it in carpet. Obviously there's a little bit of white here, so I'll take this trim off, I'll get some more carpet. I'll have a little join there, but it's so small you don't really see it. And then I'll carpet all this in grey, because obviously that's the roof, and this is kind of the side of the van, if you like, I don't know. So yeah, I'll carpet all that up later on with some bits I've got left. And now I can carry on with getting this bit templated and cut and fitted. So that's the next bit. So I've just got inside the van, and as you can see, I've had a good tidy up in there. The reason for that is my good friend Eddie does flooring for a living. And I said, Eddie, you're better at this than I am. I've got a certain sort of flooring I want to do. I want to do like a herringbone. I want it to be like dark grey or black sort of flooring. And he said, yeah man, I can help you out. So he's going to be helping me out later on today. So I've had to have a tidy up to get everything accessible. Now one thing though, I've just remembered, I better do this first, is this. So you can see down here, there's a red cable and a black cable. Now they're the ones that go from the leisure batteries that go all the way through the floor, as you saw in the previous video, and all the way down the van to the fuse boxes that are going to be under the bed over there. The only thing is, I've put both the cables in this side, and I actually need to put one of them in that side, because I'm going to have battery this side and a battery that side. And you're meant to connect one to the positive of one battery and then come off the negative of the other. So I'm going to take this floor up now, unscrew it, take that up, and then drill some holes and just put the wiring through that side before we get the floor in, because I'll be screwed if not. Fitted by this man. So as you can see, he's starting to fit the floor, because there's no way in hell I could do it. But this is where we're at now. You'll see it in a little while. And there you go. I am in love with this flooring. Eddie's done an amazing job. Like, I didn't expect this bit to be such a crisp. Not saying he's not good at his job, but like, I thought it'd be so awkward. You know, it's actually comes together really nice. Nice little bit there. But yeah, absolutely mint. Like, he's cut it all around, like the contours of the seats. Even here, look. And he's done it all underneath, ready for me to put like plimps and stuff on. Eddie, all I can say, mate, is thank you very much. Right, so we've got this bit all up. I had to trim it, kind of cut it to fit it in, but I am happy with how it's fitting, how it's sitting. Once this is all carpeted up, it's going to tie into everything else. Although it's not the biggest deal because it is black and it kind of, you know, it doesn't sound like too much, but I will carpet it to tie it in. Anyway, this shelf bit. Now, this is the bit I got out of the van at Steve's yard. Now, the bulkhead and the Merc is all the way obviously to the floor. This top bit's separate, and if I hold this up here, this like you can see, pretty much perfect. Other than this side, so the van I got this out of must have been different, because if I put this here, you can see this gap here and this bit here. So I'm going to cut this out of a bit of wood. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this side first, because this side's perfect, spot on. I'm going to do this side up to here, and then this side I'll do the same, but I'm going to have to add 20 mil or so here. So I'm going to move it over 20 mil, and then try to do some measurements and some calculations, curve this corner, mark out here what I need to do, and then try to add this kind of part in. Hopefully it goes alright. So get a bit of wood. I'm going to do an off cut first, play around to make sure I'm happy with what I want it to look like, and then we'll put it onto the final piece of wood after that. So I've just got like an off cut bit of ply laying around, and as you can see I've drawn around it. Right, now I know firstly this needs to come over 20 mil. So let's move this over a little bit, like so. Let's draw this. It hasn't got to be perfect right now, because we can, you know, get this kind of where we want it and just keep trimming it up until we're happy with where it is and how it looks. Right. We also know that this part here actually doesn't matter. So we know this first line is fine, but we know we're going to have to bring this in where this point here is. So if we pull this back to here, we know here it's going to have to come over this way. And we also know we've got this extra 20 mil or so. Now that doesn't actually look like 20 mil, it looks about 15. So I can always, when I cut it, let's say add a little bit more on. And here, I'm going to add some on. I don't know how much to add here, but I'd rather add too much now than not enough and then have to try to figure out again. So. So, this is actually stencil number 2. Not a sneeze. But there was a couple of things on the last one that actually did work out, and I just didn't do. So, first one being, there's a couple of like tabs here, which is where like the bulkhead can screw into, and they were kind of on show, and I thought if I can cover them up, I'd rather try to cover them up now with this trim bit. So that's going to go there. Also added a little bit more there, so it's a little bit tighter, so this plastic trim. Put a curve in here, so it's a little bit tighter because it was angled. And also brought this down a little bit more too. The reason this bit's here is because there will be a cupboard going along here, and that will obviously then like come out somewhat like through here. Somewhere like that. Not exact, but gives you an idea. And also the shelf is where this line here is, so I've added 35 mil because I want to put a curtain on this, but I want to kind of hide where I mount onto that. So that I'm pretty happy with. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. The only thing is, looking at this, there's a slight gap here, so I need to add like see here I could also add a bit like so, 12 mil in this corner, and then bring that into there, about 2 mil throughout that area, just to get that nice and tight. So looking at that, I can pull that in there, I can also pull that in there. And that will actually pull that in and make that look real nice. So, I think I'm ready to cut this into the wood I'm actually going to use for this. Exciting and nerve-wracking. Let's go. So, got myself some birch, as you saw earlier, went to cushions, and I got 2 sheets of 12 mil because it's actually cheaper to get it from my own work. So I went and bought that. It still cost me 200 something pound, but look at it, I love it. It's like my favourite wood. That template there that I've done, got it on here. This line here, I didn't like the wobbly the first one was from the template, so I've gone over with a straight line, which I'll try cut to that straight one. I've also added a little bit here, as you can kind of see, just to try hopefully get it a little bit tighter, especially in that corner. I added about 10 mil on because the other one I've rounded off a bit more, so I've done that too. Now I'm going to cut this and hopefully it fits, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to mount this on that, because obviously I don't want no screws showing. So let's get on time lapse, let's get this thing cut out. So I forgot to record this bit, so what I've done here, just got an off-cut bit of wood that I had laying around, put some pocket holes in it, screwed it here, and left a slight gap there. Now this is to go to the contour of the roof, and then this bit I'll screw through and into one of the ribs that I put on the roof, or I use to screw the roof up. I'll do that at the front. Now just measured and made sure everything's all right. Now this bit, this area here, is going to be where one of my bridge units go, from here to the shower, obviously on this side. So I can cut out all of this to be like a lift up door to use the storage up there above the seats. So I'm just going to draw a line here and cut this out. Fingers crossed it's all correct. So there we go, that's that kind of up and in place. Obviously you saw me tying like this, and I just forgot I got the hinges and just mounted them to this door and kind of got the door into place. Now obviously there's a little bit of movement in this I've noticed, and this is like a mil or two low both sides. Now I don't know if it's just because the hinges, although the hinges are the same thickness pretty much as the jigsaw blade. Although it might be the screws aren't flush, I don't know. But once I get some sort of clips on here and onto this door, so when it locks, that locks into place, because that is literally just going to be like that, nice and flush and smooth. And obviously I'm going to cover this because I'm going to have a curtain over this eventually, so when the curtain bit's mounted to here, I'll kind of hide behind this. You'll see it from that side but not from this side. So yeah, that's pretty much that done, and I think that looks sweet. The amount of storage in there, I can literally access every corner, which is what I want. I can trip down steps, so I think that is a wrap for that shelf. And that, obviously you got to get some little fasteners, like I say, but that's going to literally just get them, screw them in, easy. So I hope you like this one. I was a bit nervous about getting this one done, but all in all, I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. Cannot complain. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Always leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one, but hopefully we get some bridge units done. Or maybe the water tanks. There's already a kerfuffle with them. I'm sure we'll find out what that is when you watch that video. So yeah, see you later.